What's really good, y'all? It's Andrew, aka Noel, aka the Holy Hoagie Sandwich. It's been a week since I last posted. That was my distraction video, so if you want to take a look at that, please do so. Also, in the meantime, Stephanie made 3 super awesome videos. They're super insightful, they're super in-depth, they're super thoughtful, and they're very amazingly put. And I kind of wanted to keep on that thoughtful and that insightful and that reflective train of thought today. This is going to have to do with self-identity and a little bit with colorism in the Latin American community. So to make this real quick, one thing that I had left out in my Fast 5 video was that I am actually the product of a single parent household. For 27 years, it's just been me and my mother. We've been each other's rocks and supports, crying on each other's shoulders whenever we went through hardships. I can't even think of the amount of patience that she put up with me because I was no saint as a child. I'll tell you guys that right now. My father was part of the picture, but only briefly. This was around the time I was 16, 17, and my last contact with him was a voicemail that he left me on my 18th birthday. Never to be seen or heard from again since then. It's so naturally, being a kid, kids don't know when to shut the fuck up. I have a lot of questions, or I had a lot of questions rather. A lot of them had to do with my father, just because I didn't know who my father was. Who was he? What did he do? Where is he at right now? These were the questions that my mother would get on a daily basis from when I was about 8 or 9 to when I was about 13, 14. And she didn't really answer. She didn't want to answer for reasons that I'll probably put in another video, which will include the meetings with my father. But also, I think because the depth and the gravity of the conversation that the answers would entail is something that would be better suited for a more mature me, which I respect and understand completely now. But still, even when you don't get those answers, I didn't get those answers from her. I went to other family members for answers, speaking to my grandparents, speaking to my aunts and my uncles about who my father could have been. They would just skirt around the question completely. A lot of the times I got like, oh, your dark skin comes from you going out in the sun a lot when you were a baby. You were a very tan baby. Or that my grandfather's dark skin skipped my mother's generation and it got to me. Even though I'm significantly darker than my grandfather is a dark-skinned Puerto Rican. And my mother is more fair-skinned like my grandmother. But we all share the same cute noses because we're, I'm a humble person. But I digress. I think at one point, it even got to where I had asked about my blackness and if I was half black, and I bluntly got hit with, you aren't black at all. And I felt as though it was my family trying to snuff out the negatives of the jilted relationship between my parents and kind of wanting to protect me. But I think in that form of protection, they also took away half of me because I knew something was up. My hair was a little bit more curlier than my family's. It was very hard to comb through. I was a literal black sheep in family photos. And it wasn't until I was about 16 when I started contacting my father and speaking to him, and I found out that, just like I told you in my Fast 5, I'm actually not only Puerto Rican, but of Haitian and Belizean descent. Through his side, his grandmother had moved to the United States from Haiti, and her mother had come from Paris before that, and his father had moved to New York from Belize to be a member of the clergy, and he had left the clergy to be with my grandmother. And it was during that conversation that I felt a little slighted by my family, even though I love them to death, because this wealth of knowledge about who I was, this giant part of me that was missing during a very, very, very important part of my life, was taken away from me. And I understand it did because they felt like it was the right thing to do, but also at the same time there was a little bit of colorism attached to it, because I think the one thing that's prevalent in the Latin American community is sort of the lack of acknowledgement or acceptance of Afro Latinos and of people of color. And I think that colonialism and imperialism had a lot to do with that. Just sort of erasing that native heritage, sort of making us forget that it wasn't America that Columbus or any of those slaves landed in first. It wasn't America. And I think that it's something that you see you see the effects of everything that happened to this day with the slave trade. Just looking at the West Indies and a lot of people doing skin bleaching to turn their skin white. Sammy Sosa is a very popular example of this, sort of trying to get rid of the color of their skin. You hear about the struggle on the island of Hispaniola of people of color being removed from the Dominican Republic, whether they be Dominican or Haitian. And it breaks my heart because we still adhere to these ideologies of European colonizers, not realizing that we're hurting ourselves, we're hurting our own people in the end. And that's what I wanted to say about that. But I'll say I'm very thankful for the city of Elizabeth, moving to Elizabeth from New York, because one thing that was very evident here was that there's a very strong Caribbean identity and a Haitian identity and a Latin identity, and it's here that I was able to find my self identity. I was able to be myself. I had that knowledge. I finally found out more about myself, and I wasn't as confused as I was. It sort of lifted from me. It came to light, and I'm still learning more stuff about Haitian and Belizean culture to this day. I'm not nowhere near somebody who practices all the customs and traditions, but I can sort of walk easier knowing that I'm not missing anything. I feel like there's a completeness to me, and there's still a lot that I'll have to learn. I think that just has to do with everything, but I feel a lot better about it. And if you feel as though you are of mixed race origin and you do not have that identity, you can talk to other people. You just talk to other people who are in the same boat as you. I guarantee you will find yourself one day. So that's what I wanted to talk about. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I'll probably post another video soon about my father because I feel like that's a doozy, and I feel like that's going to be a more entertaining story. So that's what I'll share with you guys. So until the next time, once again, this was Andrew. I hope y'all stay blessed. Till the next time, y'all. Peace out.